The negotiation strategy of Brazil, it's more like an articulator. It's considered to be a global articulator. So the country has been focusing a lot on its deforestation policies, and it has been praised by environmentalists and different groups outside the country for reducing its deforestation problem. Still, agriculture and land use has an impact on the forest protections. So that's the main negotiation position of Brazil. It's a big articulator among developed and developing countries in the climate debate. The companies, and specifically the automotive companies, they are big emitters. It's very difficult to find, for example, green technologies or green or low emitter fuels, for example, for automotive, passenger cars, the transportation sector in general. So this is one of the sectors the most difficult to mitigate. So I think we should look into more detail in that direction, and I'm curious to see what are the policies that are going to come out, if any, in terms of what companies can really do in terms of adaptation and mitigation, specifically in the transportation sector, which is a critical sector. I think the big companies, they have a big input in what the policies may turn out to be. For instance, the automotive sector has a very big lobby industry involved with. So these are big sharks out there, and of course they have an impact on the policies that are going to come out, because they are going to influence their sector as well. But I'm still, as I said before, I'm trying to be optimistic. I think the alternatives, I think it's important to find an agreement now. I think it gives credibility to the topic. I think it's difficult to expect civil society to take action if the governments do not take action themselves. So I think it's important that an agreement is done at first. But at the same time, there are lots of technologies that are out there that could already be used to mitigate climate change. For instance, in agriculture, for example, to deal with flood events, all these technologies are already available out there. So these bottom-up activities would be a good alternative in fighting the problem. But at the same time, I think an agreement from the policy side would give credibility to the problem. I think the UN negotiations is a driver, for sure, of the climate protection. We're talking about 196 countries with very different characteristics, size, development goals. So they got a chance to put all of them together, talking about this problem, which is a global problem. So I think the UN negotiations are indeed a contributor to mitigate the problem, for sure.